Our van life adventure was coming to an end, but not without a few more curveballs and bumps in the road.
So we're currently running, trying to make up a few minutes because we're still on this driving path. Our glacier visit is getting cut short, unfortunately.
So if you haven't already, head to the links in the description below to watch parts 1 and 2, and then follow along for part 3 to see just how we handle all those challenges van life threw at us.
We're gonna attempt to find something to eat, and I gotta get a cocktail in me soon. There's probably a better way to say that.
We have now been named the pilot car. Much construction here.
There is a lot, and it is causing some delays.
Because that's our nature of the beast this week. Delays.
It sure is.
We are heading to go to the Old Faithful.
Well, you can't come to the most famous site in Yellowstone without running into a shitload of people. Isn't it pretty? All the people.
We're going to do the south end of the park today, the north end tomorrow on our way out to Montana.
Now, in case you were wondering, Old Faithful goes off about every 90 minutes or so. But because we had had some delays for basically this entire trip, we opted to keep things moving and go see some of the smaller geysers in the area. And we ended up seeing Old Faithful from afar, though we maybe didn't get the full effect of it. But that's not to say we didn't see anything cool.
I don't want to say he's definitely chasing us, but
Very powerful animal.
we're all collectively just walking away from the approaching bison. I mean, this is what you hope to see when you come to Yellowstone. He's gorgeous. He walked right across where we were walking just now. So we're just finishing up lunch here in the van. Made us a couple of wraps. Obviously, Cheez-Its, part of any well-balanced diet. How was your lunch?
It was great.
We didn't really do a van tour, I noticed. So it's kind of messy, but here's the driving area. Here's the cooking area. There's the side door with the screen. 2 beds, which, if I'm being honest, has been a bit of an issue. We've not been a fan of the 2 separate beds. It just makes things a little bit more difficult. Some people might see it as a break. If you see it as a break, I kind of see that as a red flag, but you know, everybody's different, I suppose. And then in the back here, main control center. In the back here is your standard shower situation. I don't know how I feel about it taking up the entire back of the van. It's not our van, so I can't really say. We're gonna go see some falls now, and then finish up the south loop of Yellowstone.
Boo-boo. We were trying to go see these Virginia Cascades, but the sign said no RVs. I'm not sure if we're considered an RV or not, but that was probably the sketchiest part. So that's probably why, I don't know. I didn't film it.
They don't want RVs, because it's tight.
It's very tight. I didn't film it, I missed it. So we didn't even stop to see them. It's just, we need to get out of the area before we get kicked out of the park.
Okay, so we're out of the sticky situation that we were in. Now we're just waiting for more construction traffic, but that got a little dicey there for a second. We come around this one curve, and there's some concrete barriers that are on a very tight ridge that has basically nothing but a straight drop on the side of it, and it was tight. We should not have done that, and we're lucky that this thing is really no wider than most SUVs. Yeah, we're good now, but it was a little touch and go there for a minute. It was a little sketchy. Don't do what we did. All right, so we're currently hiking down to the lower falls of some canyon. A couple walking back up told us it was worth it, so we'll see. And now the hike back up. Should be fun.
Definitely worth the time to go down.
I can't say for sure that it's better than the upper falls, But Lower Falls, very worth it. Must do in Yellowstone.
We faced some more delays on our way out of the park, but this time it actually wasn't because of construction.
Right?
Oh my god, look at the horns on that thing.
That is a bull elk in the flesh. Well, that was unexpected. A f***ing bull elk on the side of the road. Not bad.
He was just hanging out, watching all the traffic go by.
We were just talking about we've seen 4, possibly 5 bison today, and that was the first elk we saw.
And we were just sitting there.
Pretty f***ing cool. We're almost back into town, and I happen to turn my head and see a whole shitload of bison. Holy shit.
And after just narrowly missing the giant storm rolling over the mountains, we managed to roll back into town with just enough time to enjoy a lovely dinner of some elk in a blackberry reduction. That would be for me. And Karen enjoying a nice pesto gnocchi. Of course, our last night in Jackson wouldn't be complete without a picture under the famed antler arch.
All right, good morning from our last day in Wyoming. We are going to do day 2 in Yellowstone and then head up to Bozeman, Montana for the night before heading up to Glacier tomorrow. Got the famous picture that everybody gets in Grand Teton today, so I feel accomplished in that sense. All right, we just wrapped up a little breakfast on the lake here. Beautiful scenery, our little setup. I'm gonna go put my hands in the lake. Pretty beautiful out here. Quiet, serene. Nice way to have breakfast. I'll put my hand in. Yellowstone Lake. We made a stop at the fishing bridge. This is what we're gonna walk out on now. I don't really know what I was expecting, but I feel like I expected it to be a little bit bigger. Crossing over the Yellowstone River. And we're walking over the bridge now. And for anybody who's wondering, there is no fishing at the fishing bridge. So don't let the name fool you. You will get in trouble. Sure would be a great place to fish though, I'll tell you what. Get out there with a fly rod. You can't always have what you want in life. Karen wants to give her honest thoughts on me.
It's been an interesting morning. This guy needs some coffee to get himself into a non-cranky mood, I'll tell you.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Never do.
You're not cranky?
I'm not saying I'm not cranky, but this morning you had something up
Something up my asshole, she said, in case you couldn't hear it with the car coming.
We continued our journey through the northern loop of Yellowstone, not covered by trees, thankfully, so we were able to enjoy some of the beautiful scenery. Now, when we saw this giant crow in the parking lot, Karen is not a fan of birds, so she was less than pleased. However, we were about to have maybe the best animal encounter of the entire trip.
He's walking right towards the other cars.
What do you do?
You gotta wait. You just wait for him to get out of the way.
See, that back car's smart, pulling off. But it's also like you don't want to make too many sudden movements. I'm not sure what he's gonna do, so we're gonna have to just be patient here. We can kind of follow him, because we sort of have no choice.
I'm scared, Brian.
I know, it's okay. It's okay. We just gotta give him his time and his space, that's all. You know what I mean? We can't rush him. Looks like he's already walking over to the other side of the road. All these other cars are like, get me the f*** out of here.
I have a line of cars in there.
I know, but there's nothing we can do. We can't get past them.
I know.
So everyone's just gonna have to wait, that's all. The thing is, he's gonna go wherever he wants to go.
I don't know what to do.
It's tricky. It's very tricky. Yeah, asshole, that's why we moved. Okay, if he's going over to the other side, we can go by him.
Oh my god.
I know, it's okay. Just slow right past him, okay?
Oh my god.
It's okay. I got a shot of you with it right next to you.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh man, how f***ing cool was that? How cool was that shit? That was awesome. And that's all you can do is you gotta give him his time and his space, and he's gonna go where he goes. He don't give a fuck about us.
That lady pissed me off.
Yeah, That was really fucking obnoxious. If you're ever in any, nature, national park situation, and there's like a line of people, it's probably for a reason. Don't be like this piece of shit up here and decide that you're gonna try and cut the line and then almost run into a fucking bison. So don't do that. How are you feeling right now?
I'm gonna cry. It was so close.
It was so close. He's beautiful, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. All right, trip is made. We can go home.
Fuck the rest of the trip. Wow, that was amazing. Yeah, we were kind of bummed before because there was a trail that we were gonna hike that we weren't really sure about. We didn't have any bear spray, so we weren't exactly sure if we should do it. We decided not to. Kind of bummed, and that really turned it around. That's one of the cool things. Is like even if your initial plan doesn't work out, there could be something else right around the corner that's equally good or maybe even better.
That was better.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that. That was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
What is this?
We saw some more bison from afar on our way over to Mammoth Hot Springs, which, you guessed it, had construction, so we couldn't get up close and personal, but we decided to try and take what we thought was a walking path and see as much of the hot springs as we could.
So, we were walking around a bunch of hot springs, but we're on a driving path. Trying to reconnect with the walking path. Decided to kind of make our own way of it. Karen is not thrilled with me right now. Come on. On the hop, let's go.
44, 31.
Oh, shut up. So we're currently running, trying to make up a few minutes because we're still on this driving path. How you doing?
Car.
Okay. So we pull over.
Now, we did survive the driving path, of course, and we saw from afar what we could of the hot springs before leaving Yellowstone for this trip. On our way out of the park, we saw a ton of elk in the Yellowstone boundary zone. I, of course, had to send a proof of life photo to Karen's mom, as you can see here. And we eventually made it to our home for the night of Bozeman, Montana, which did not quite have the energy that we were expecting it would.
You ever just have a day where your brain doesn't work? Because that's what's happening with me today. So I guess it kind of started yesterday a little bit. For the summer and for the next 2 days, as it turns out, you need reservations to get into Glacier National Park between the hours of 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. We were going to get there about midday. That was kind of the plan. But I didn't do that. And I knew I had to do it. I just forgot.
We both forgot. I forgot to.
And so Karen realized it last night when we were at dinner, and we called this morning to see about getting a reservation to get in. It just, I don't know, man. My brain just doesn't work. I missed like the exit 3 times trying to get onto the fucking freeway today, this morning, just getting out of Bozeman. But that's kind of where we're at. So we're going to get up to Glacier after 3 p.m. since you don't need a reservation then.
We had a nice dinner last night.
We did have a very nice dinner last night. Last 2 nights, I've had very nice dinners, and it's been a nice way to kind of unwind from the days.
Now, I'll spare everyone the pain that Karen went through that morning of having to sit through my delirious rant that was going absolutely nowhere. But basically, I was trying to give a wrap-up of where we were at this point in the trip, as this was our second to last day, and it just wasn't happening for me this particular morning. Now, that's not to say there weren't some gems in what I said.
It was, what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of it because my brain doesn't work today. Man, when you're striving, God damn it, when you're reaching for something ambitious. It was ambitious, and that was too long of a journey for that word.
And I did have one part of this rant that managed to make some sense.
I always had this thing of whether you've been to a place. My qualification for saying that you've been to a place is either spent the night there or you had some kind of meaningful experience there. You did some kind of activity, you saw some whatever. And I guess like by that definition you could say we've been to these places, but did you get that's debatable. And that's the tricky part about a trip like this is not wanting to sacrifice some things. You're going to end up sacrificing others. I don't know if any of that made any sense, but how are you feeling this morning?
Good. Great.
There you go, as usual.
Self-care.
Well, we made it to Glacier finally. It's a treacherous road, but we made it. Sun hitting the east side of the mountains. Those dickheads going on a cruise. Pretty rocks. It really is beautiful. Now the road to get here, there's a ton of construction on going to Sun Road that we thought was going to be like Yellowstone, where it was just blocked off and took a while, but it was more like a fucking off-roading adventure. And filled with bumps and mud and all sorts of other shit.
So we just hope the van's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. It was a stressful ride up here. We have more animals. I don't know if you can see this, but he's peeing at the moment. I can't zoom in far enough, but he's peeing, and he just put his f***ing nose in it. Ew, you dirtbag. Our glacier visit is getting cut short, unfortunately.
This is the road that we're coming back on off of Glacier. It's awful in the van.
Yeah, it's not great.
If it was our own van, we would have went further, but it's better safe than sorry, so yeah.
Yeah, we got about, 10 miles until we're out of here. So that's where we're at.
Keeping our fingers crossed that the van is still okay when we get out.
Well, we made it. We're out of Glacier. It was a f***ing bumpy road, and the van was making a lot of noises. I do think it sounded worse than it probably was. Mm-hmm. Van sounds fine now driving. We're good, I think, right?
We're good. Not great anymore, but we're good. We're good.
Today's been a tough day. Today's been a very start to finish. Today's been just a tough day. My brain wasn't working this morning. Drive, was kind of annoying in a weird way. It was fine. Like, there was no issues, but it was just longer.
Missoula was good.
Missoula was great. I got nothing but good things to say about the town of Missoula. Honestly, should have stayed in either Bozeman or Missoula and just driven back from there.
I forgot to mention before that we killed some time in the town of Missoula, Montana, and had lunch in the Albertsons parking lot. Great town.
Glacier's been a challenge. Geographically, it's a tough place to get to. It's so remote. We're very close to Canada. I don't know if I really mentioned that. We're pretty close to the Canadian border in northern Montana. There's one main road that goes through the entire park. So if any section of that has issues, you're fucked, because there's no alternative route. Like, you can't go anywhere else. But man, it was a challenge in a way that I don't think either of us really kind of anticipated it was going to be. And if it were our van, or if we had a proper 4-wheel drive vehicle with better suspension, like we would have been fine.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're fine. Ultimately, we're okay.
And we saw the big lake, and we
saw Lake McDonald. Took some
that's
great
what we
pictures
wanted.
and everything.
Yeah.
And we didn't do any hiking, but it's ultimately, I wasn't pushing it. There was no way that we were going to risk doing any damage or encountering any other trickier road or anything like that. It was just safer this time. So now we're off to get something to eat.
Maybe get the truck washed.
Yeah. Let me show you this real quick, because you would think that we took her off-roading. Look at this. Now, in the listing for this place, this thing, they did say this is not an off-roading vehicle, which is why we have a little bit of a sense of urgency with trying to clean it. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So we're going to attempt to find something to eat, and I got to get a fucking cocktail in me soon. There's probably a better way to say that.
We grabbed dinner in the nearby town of Kalispell, Montana, at a place that, and I'm not making this up, is part hair salon, part bar, and part casino. Montana, man. But we then went and had a nightcap at a place aptly named the Moose's Saloon, which honestly was maybe the highlight of the trip. Luckily, Kalispell had a self-serve car wash that we were able to get old Bertha cleaned off in, and I was not feeling great, so I didn't record a whole hell of a lot that morning.
So I didn't record anything this morning. We've been driving from Kalispell back to Hood River to drop off the van. We're over halfway at this point. Apologies for my voice. I'm a little congested this morning, or this afternoon, whatever it is. So we're trying to avoid having yet another late night, and it's a little stressful because apparently there's no Ubers from Hood River to Portland. We were able to get dropped off from Portland to Hood River, but not the other way around. There is a bus that'll take us to the airport. We can get to the Airbnb from the airport, so that's probably what we're going to end up doing. It's not ideal, but you know, it's just this has been sort of a trip of curveballs. So this is another one that we knew about a week ago, but we've been kind of kicking the can down the road a little bit.
Well, we're planning on everything else though, every day by day, so
Yeah.
it's understandable that we get
So
into it.
yeah, right up until the end, we're flying by the seat of our pants with this one.
I'll be honest, at this point, I was not feeling great. My brain was still not working. I was congested, tired, and just the reality of the trip coming to an end was fully starting to set in. Imagine the worst case of Sunday scaries you've ever had. Luckily, though, Karen's positive attitude made this drive somewhat palatable. Here's an example of what I mean.
They didn't respond to you, did they?
What?
They didn't respond to you, did
No,
they?
no one does.
Karen's been waving at other camper vans that we've passed, and very few have responded back to her.
3.
Yeah, 3. That's pretty much what it's been.
But before long, we were back in Hood River, Oregon, dropping off Bertha to her rightful owners, and after a sketchy bus ride back to our favorite city on earth, Portland, Oregon, we were at the end of our trip. Now we will have a proper recap video, an epilogue of sorts for our van life adventure coming out very, very soon. But for now, I'll say this. Despite the ups and downs and delays, we had a blast, and the trip ultimately achieved its goal of bringing us closer than ever together, and has inspired us to start planning other adventures, which you'll hear about very, very soon. So if you could, throw us a like and a subscribe, and I will see you next time. Okay, love you. Bye.
That totally works too. It totally works. It isn't worse